we're gonna show you how to make nice and soft chapatis. So we are gonna use some wheat flour, and it's about 5 pounds, so that's about it's 5 pounds, so that's about 2 kilograms. And then we'll use some salt. I just use a little sugar, very little sugar, but lots of salt, and then some oil and hot water. I actually made it boil, and I'm gonna add some salt to it, and I'll add salt as I taste it. So usually you add it to your taste, but because of this you need to make it a little more saltier than normal, since you're gonna put it in the entire dough. So you can always taste it to make sure it's on the salty side. And this is about 6 cups of water, so I want to see if we'll use all of it.
Did you use a measuring cup?
Yeah, I did. So
I don't always use hot water.
Oh,
I use warm water.
Oh, I do use hot. So I start with salt because I want it to be salty, and then I just add very little sugar. So it should be salty and not sweet. So that when you taste it, you should actually have the salty part of it, just very slightly sweet. I will pour my flour. You want to make sure you leave some. Don't pour everything, because I like to make sure that I can always add more flour. It's better to add more flour, so it's better to have more water in it than less. So I just leave a little bit of it. It's hot, so you can't use your hand at this point, so I'll just be pouring the water as I use my wooden spoon. And it might take some time until you're comfortable to use your hands. So you have to start early if you want to cook this. Lot, so it becomes too hard to make it here, so I can always put it on the countertop and use the countertop to knead it more. And I make sure I mix it so well before I add oil in it. And don't mind even if it's sticking to your hands, because you want a soft dough, you don't want a very hard dough.
And you don't want lumps.
Yes, and you don't want lumps in it, so you make sure you knead it so well. Using the entire 6 cups of water, and you can see it's still a little sticky, but it's really soft, so that's what I need. Then I'll add oil to it next. I'll add about a cup of oil as I mix it. So So initially when you start mixing, it looks like it's a lot of oil, but as you continue to mix, it will all mix into it. No longer sticky at all. Yeah, it was originally very sticky, but it's no longer sticky after you use oil on it. It's nice and soft. And so after this, you have to cover it. You can cover it with a foil, or you can just take a cling film and put on top of it, and then let it rest for a minimum of 30 minutes. You can let it rest even for an hour or so. The longer, the softer it is. Back about an hour later because we got busy, and so we're gonna roll them into shapes and start making it, and it's nice and soft. I'll just put some flour just so it doesn't stick, and then I'll roll into a big shape and then cut it.
What are you doing?
So yeah, I'll just put oil.
What's oil for?
In between it, and so that when I roll it comes out in layers, and it doesn't stick to. And people cut them in different shapes, but I just cut them anyhow. I'll do this to whatever size I want. Yeah, so saying we ended up using the entire 6 cups of water. So you could use 6 to 6.5. The lighter the dough, the softer it becomes. It's sticky as you make it, because as soon as you put the oil and knead it together, the stickiness disappears. You don't want to make a tough dough, you want to make a soft dough. Almost done. So last part. You realize it's nice and easy to roll. Just heat up our pan, and once it's nicely heated, then we'll reduce the heat to medium low, and you keep regulating your heat depending on what you want. You don't want to burn them, but you want them to cook as well. So on this other side, some people just leave it this way. Some people will get like a wet cloth, like a warm wet cloth, and cover them so they don't dry up. I don't cover mine, I still the same thing. So my pan is heated up, and so we can start cooking. but it's not too thin as well. Well, so my heat is still up, so I'll regulate it depending on how it cooks. I'll let that side cook, and then I'll turn it up to the other side. So usually it depends on what your cooker is, because I wouldn't tell you. So this is a medium, but I will drop it down to like a low heat, just on between low and 2 once it starts cooking, just making sure that it does not burn. So I'll drop it, and then now I use oil. So this is a foil, just on a plate. So once I cook them, I'll drop them over there. We just put a little oil.
Are we allowed to taste the first one?
Yes, you will taste the first one if you want to. And I just play around with my heat. Sometimes I turn it off and then bring it back just to make sure that it's not burning. And as one is cooking, I'll be preparing the next one. And I like when all the sides of my chapati is cooked, and so I play around with the pan and move it all around just to make sure that all the edges are well cooked.
Multitasking. You roll the other one, or this one is going. Almost done.
Yeah. And I make sure all the corners are cooked, because I don't like to eat parts that are not cooked, and I don't want to throw them away. So
Gentle. The heat is back up.
yep. And so once all the sides are nice and done, I'll just take it out and put it in between my flour. And it's ready for the next one. You realize there's not much oil, because I just put a little oil to cook it up. I don't like too much oil. But it's not so thin and it's not so thick. It's just good. The first one usually comes out a little thicker sometimes, but the rest of it will just be a good size of thickness. Done. So I just put oil on it again while the other side is cooking a little bit, and I don't put so much oil. And I'll do this over and over again until all that is done.
Let's see you when we are doing the last one.
So we're almost done. So just 3 left. So this is all that we've made. You see, it's all nicely cooked, nice and soft. So this is the 3rd last one. I'm gonna have 2 more left and we'll be done. Okay, see you when we're done. We are all done. See how this looks. Really good. It's nice and soft. It just comes out on its own. So I'm just gonna show you how to store chapati. We definitely wanted that in one meal. So do not store chapati in the fridge. And again, I'm gonna repeat that. Do not store chapatis in the fridge. Instead, put them in the freezer. That way they'll maintain their softness. And when you take them out, just thaw it, and then you can warm it in the microwave or on your pan, and it's good to go.